Hey everyone, I'm the black-haired Richard Cora Kenobi, and I'm back again for another Honest Thoughts. And today we're going to be talking about Animaniacs' revival at Hulu. So yes, if you guys did not know the news last week, it was announced that Animaniacs will be getting a 2-season order at Hulu, and it will have the original crew from Amblin Entertainment and Steven Spielberg himself coming back to work on the show. So this is a huge, this was a huge announcement. Of course, what a great way to start off 2018, and apologies for the rustiness. So yes, I'm very excited. I know you all are. I'm of course a huge fan of Animaniacs. I loved it when I was a kid. The humor just went over my head like any other kid at the time, and I'm happy it is now coming back. Now, I know a lot of people, as I started going through Twitter last week, a lot of people were saying, this better not suck, this can't suck. And I understand those worries, which I'm here to explain. So, yes, first of all, before I start talking about this, if you're new to this channel, then please hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my videos if you like what you see. So, let's go ahead and talk about this, because I know there's a lot of questions. Now, I will leave a link down below to Vakaski Bum 94's video, as he talked a lot more about it and gave us the details on when we can expect this, on just quoting the press releases, all of that, just in case you guys want to see that. But I'm going to try and do my best. So yes, Animaniacs, after 25 years, is coming back to give us more zaniness. Now, again, this is great. Because I've always wanted to see Animaniacs return in some way or another, because it is a shame that it ended in 1998 with its series finale movie, Wacko's Wish. So ever since then, I guess we've all just wanted to see more of it, but unfortunately, we have never gotten anything on TV. The only thing we come close to is Animaniacs Live, where the original cast go around the world on a live tour and pretty much, well, do what you expect them to do on an Animaniacs tour. So, yeah, but now we finally get to see it back. But again, let's get to the questions. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be asking these questions. Okay, so is Rob Paulsen, Tress MacNeille, and the others going to come back to voice the Warners? Are we going to get to see Pinky and the Brain? Like, what is going on? Well, first things first. We do not know if the original cast will come back to reprise the role. We just don't know. So, regardless of that, we're pretty much going to have to wait until the whole year goes by to see what we can get. But I would imagine that they're going to try to get the original cast to do it, but play a joke up. And I'll get to that later, because I have an idea on how they could execute this. The second thing, I know you guys are wondering, okay, is the animation going to be completely different? Like, excuse me, like how DuckTales 2017 was to the original DuckTales. So, this is a big question, but I don't think so. In my opinion, Animaniacs had a timeless animation style to it. Again, it was like Tiny Toons, but cranked up even further. So, I don't think they're going to abandon that. If they're going to use flash animation or hand-drawn animation, we don't know. But I assume they're going to keep the overall look of Animaniacs and what it's set up in its original show, because they don't want to give them a new, edgy, here and now look. They do want to try and remain faithful to the original classic. Again, which you should do. But the other question is, okay, how is the music going to be done? I don't know. Maybe it'll be composed differently, because sadly, in the late 1990s, the original composer for Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Pinky and the Brain, he unfortunately passed away, and it is going to be difficult to recapture that soundtrack and that music style he did, but I think they could try, and who knows, you know, maybe they will try to find a way to honor him and bring his music into the modern day. We don't know. But the last question I think everyone should be asking right now is the writing and the direction, because this is where it all depends if this is going to break or make the show. Because here's the thing, in my opinion, the animation is not what made the show. The voice acting the music and the writing are what made that show. But it was mostly 80 to 90% the writing. Yes, you can have great voice acting and great music, but it all comes down to the writing and the direction and how they go about each episode. Now, again, I know that's a little hard to explain, but again, Animaniacs is famous. It's one of those animation shows that was famous for pioneering such great adult humor and satire on a kid's show, and it went over the kids' heads. And 25 years later, we have recognized these jokes, and we are just baffled. How did that get on the network? How did the censors allow that? We don't know. It's just something that happened, and honestly, that's what I want for this new show, for this reboot. I don't want the animation to either look identical or look different. I don't care about how the animation looks. I do care about the voice acting and the music, but I loved the writing and the overall satire they did for the show, because that's what made the show famous. And other great YouTubers have gone great in-depths on why the writing was such unique for its time. And ever since then, in my opinion, in some way, South Park was inspired by Animaniacs, because Animaniacs was able to do whatever they want, tell whatever joke they want, with no limits. Barely no limits. Now, yes, they couldn't show nudity, they couldn't curse, that's true. But that doesn't mean they could be subtle about it. They were very extremely subtle. Everything you can imagine in an Animaniacs episode, they almost did. So, in some way or another, Animaniacs is the pioneer to where adult animation has come in terms of television and animated movies. Because again, you gotta think back to the 90s. Only Tiny Toons somewhat was able to go past it, but they weren't able to just fully go with it. It was Animaniacs. They granted them free reins to do whatever they want, and it didn't matter. As long as it got the views, they could do whatever they want. So that's ultimately what I think is needed for this new show. So again, I'm going to go more in detail about this. Say if, when they come back, because I pitched this idea to my friends and my editor, Duo Dreamer, and everyone loved this idea. So picture this. Say the first episode, the whole first episode of the reboot, is them trying to joke around and just overall punch the idea of a reboot. Now I'm going to explain this. Say the whole episode takes place at the Warner Brothers studio, modern day, and the Animaniacs are back after 25 years. They acknowledge that it's been that long. They know that their fans have grown up. They know times have changed. They're not fishes out of water. They know. They've been trapped in that tower for so long, ever since their show ended. They have seen time go by. They're not old, of course. You know, they're still the same age. But you get my point. They are familiar with what's going on today. So as soon as they hear that their show's coming back, they're happy, they're overjoyed, and then they come out and they start talking about reboots for cartoons. They acknowledge the flaws, like maybe they could take a shot at Teen Titans Go, Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls. You get the point. They are just taking shots at how reboots just don't seem to live up to the original, and how they do drastically different things that the original fans of the original show are not happy with. Like, they can make fun of that and put their own spin on it. And, okay, the whole first couple of minutes, they could spend the whole time trying to find new voice actors to portray their voices, and they're actually auditioning people to get those voices to match their new modern voice. So we could hear the original cast for the last time come back just to get new voice actors. That would be a good way for them. That would be a good send-off to them. But if they choose to keep the original voice actors, you still get the point. They could literally have random inner voices interact with their original cast. It doesn't matter. The sky is the only limit here. Or in this case, the water tower. I know, it's a weird kind of analogy. Again, just go with it. And then after that, they could just spend the whole rest of the episode trying to make sure that this reboot is great and it doesn't suck. Just think about that for a second. This would be funny as hell, and it would be a good satire on reboots, because this is how reboots are done nowadays. And this could be a smart joke on it. Excuse me. So, yes. Or, say if they want it, because again, this is something else I'm going to bring up. The fact that this show is now under Hulu, they can do whatever they want. They have little to no network scrutiny, so they have no limits, and they can pretty much just go all out like they wanted to, like they tried to do, but they couldn't go 100% with it back in the 90s, but now they can totally do what they want. Like, they could make sex jokes, but the sex jokes don't have to be subtle. They can actually, you know, make curse words, but not go over the edge with it. So you get what I'm saying. They can do whatever they want. Hell, they could have an opening skit with Donald Trump eating nothing but hamburgers and chicken at the White House, and they could put their own spin on it. Again, there is no limit to what these guys can do. So that is what I'm hoping for. The writing needs to take advantage of what's going on today, because that's what made the show great and timeless in the 90s, because it was talking about everything that was going on at that time. It was literally taking advantage of what the 90s brought them. And they took full advantage of it towards the end. And they were not afraid to talk about whatever they wanted. They could talk about politics, they could talk about the economy, they could talk about global warming, they could do anything. They could talk about parodies, they could talk about TV shows, movies, games, you name it. They did it. So that is what I think this show, this new reboot, needs to do. When it comes back, they need to get the original writing staff, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna do, but they need to capture that charm of how the writing was executed in the 90s, but they need to also take advantage of what's going on today, and they need to come up with funny, creative, more less than subtle jokes, but try and keep it at bay. Like, don't go overboard. Like, don't pretty much do what South Park does. They need to put their own charm to it, and they need to make sure that the writing in the reboot can be just as good, if not slightly better than the original. Now, that's a big if, I know. But again, that's what will make or break this show. It's the writing and the direction. And they really need to put all of their effort into the scripts and making sure these are good, funny scripts. Because again, Animaniacs was known for doing zany things that seemed gross at the time, but looking back on it, it's very funny. And I think that's what we need now today. Like, again, South Park has unfortunately mostly gone downhill, and I think Animaniacs can pick up the pieces and show that it has not lost its touch, and it can do modern-day subtle writing better than most shows. Some shows. That's just my opinion. But again, that's what I want. I don't want this show to be a cash grab. I don't want it to just abandon its roots like most reboots tend to do. Again, DuckTales 2017 showed us we can honor and do what the original did in our own creative way, but we can also do our own thing and have our own voice and identity. I think this is what Animaniacs, the reboot, needs to do. It needs to combine these two things and overall feel familiar, but still be new and fresh at the same time. But only time will tell. Now, I know the biggest question a lot of you are going to ask, is when is this coming out? Well, it's been ordered for 2 seasons, so that means, this has been confirmed, we are not going to get this show on Hulu until 2020. Yes, we have to wait 2 years to get this show. Now, why do we have to wait 2 years? I know you guys are going to ask that. You want this now. You want this next year, right? Well, unfortunately, animation takes time. Again, they're now starting to go into pre-production, so they have to decide how they're going to write the scripts, how it's going to be done. They have to decide on the voice acting, the animation. They just have to decide and put the finishing touches on how this show's going to look and sound and act. Next year, we'll get more details. We're definitely going to get a lot more details next year, but that's the thing. It takes a long time, and we don't even know how many episodes they're going to get. So they could get 13 episodes, or maybe they could get an average of 26 episodes. We don't know, because the original show had over 60 episodes. I don't think they're going to do that, because if they were to order 60 episodes for 2 seasons, we have to wait 4 years for that. So I think we are going to get the standard 13 to 26 episodes, but it's going to take a long time to complete. So unfortunately, that does mean we have to wait 2 years to see this, which is a little bit of a shame because, like you guys, I want this show. I want to see this now, but I understand behind the scenes, it's going to take a while. And I think we have to be patient and we have to give them time. They can't rush this. They simply cannot rush this. That's the mistake Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016, and Ben 10, and just overall some other reboots do. They don't take their time. They want to cash in on this, and they want to just push it out like there's no tomorrow. But Animaniacs is something that takes time, and it needs to have a lot of effort, heart, and passion put into this. And I think that's why waiting 2 years, it's reasonable. And I think it will be worth the wait. Again, we just need to wait. We need to wait and see how many episodes they're going to get, who's going to be playing who's going to come back, what it's going to look like, what the writing's going to be, the soundtrack, the opening. We need to wait. But I guarantee you guys, I think Hulu is going to take great care of this. Because how do I know this? Again, the original crew from Amblin Entertainment are coming back to work on this. Maybe they'll hire some new fresh people who have done success in other shows, and, you know, they'll get to collab with them and just throw ideas out the window. I can imagine the writing room, and how they're going to creatively come up with jokes and situations and overall satire. And also, too, I could just imagine they're going to put a lot of time and effort into the voice acting and how the show's going to look. And also, too, Steven Spielberg is executive producer on it again. So, you know the show is in good hands. It's not being done by another studio who just is doing it for the name. They're doing it. This is a studio that's coming back to do it because they care about what the fans think, and they understand that this show changed everything. It pioneered so many great things, and it's because of Animaniacs we owe a huge thank you to how animation TV shows are done today. I just want to point that out there. So, yes, again, it will be out on Hulu, but again, this also means they can do whatever they want. It's like I said, they virtually have no limit. And those first 2 seasons, I'm going to be happy about, because maybe we could get season 2 in the beginning of 2020, and then season 1 in the beginning of 2020, and then we could get season 2 maybe in summer or fall. I don't know. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, but there is good news. If you guys want to see Animaniacs now, the good news is Hulu has completely brought the rights, or gotten the rights, to all of Amblin Entertainment's catalog. So you can now, if you have a Hulu subscription, you can watch all 4 seasons of Animaniacs, plus the special. You can watch Pinky and the Brain, and you can watch Tiny Toon Adventures and its specials. So yes, you can actually relive your childhood, go back and watch it. I've been a Hulu subscription. I've had a Hulu subscription for a long time, and of course, I'm happy to see all 3 of these shows come back. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is my thoughts on Animaniacs, the reboot. I do have faith it will be good. I have huge faith that they know what they're doing, and I think it's great that they're taking their time with this, and they're not going to rush it out. I really think that's a good idea, and I trust Hulu. I know that this show will, when it comes back, I think this could be it could be a great reboot. It definitely could. Now, yes, it could be bad. I'm not gonna be in denial about that. It could be bad if it's not done right, because if a single joke is not good, or if a single episode is bad, then yeah, that's going to be bad for all of us. So, yes. But those are just my honest thoughts, and I love to hear your guys' thoughts. So comment down below, what do you think of Animaniacs the Reboot? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you worried? Are you optimistic? Just let me know down in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going about this. And I really love to hear your guys' thoughts. And what do you think of the potential of other shows from Amblin Entertainment getting a reboot? Would you like to see a Pinky and the Brain reboot or Tiny Toons? I know I like to see a Tiny Toons reboot. Let's all talk about it down below. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this new Honest Thoughts, then please hit that like button. And if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button and click that little bell icon to be notified of all of my videos. And before I go, just be known that I'm recording on my brand new iPad mini. So that is why I'm a little boxed in right now, but the quality looks great on my end. So yes, until then, ladies and gentlemen, this is Richard Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you. And I'm going to go watch more Animaniacs and, oh my goodness, see what the Warners and all of the others are going to get into... are gonna do next. Sorry, guys. Bye, everybody. I'll see you next time.